we're joined by Simon Sproul, who's Chief Marketing Officer of Aston Martin. So thank you for joining us. So you're a well-known luxury car brand. How important is it for you to offer connected car services?
Well, I think it's going to be a ticket of entry. In fact, probably in reality already is. The consumer is expecting now a very high level of connectivity. What's interesting, of course, is that the mobile device increasingly is being seen as the connected car technology. So people want whatever's on their mobile device to be mirrored or obviously integrate into their cars.
So what are you doing today?
Well, today we're replacing all of our sports cars. We've just completed the last of the three replacement cars. We've got the SUV coming out next year. You have to try and get into the head of the consumer, but often the consumer doesn't know what they want. That's, of course, in the case for every industry. Again, we're a luxury brand. There is a hygiene level of technology that has to be put into cars, connected cars, but then there's what does connected car technology, what does autonomy look like in the luxury space?
Okay, so what is your vision for how this looks in the luxury market, particularly as we start seeing services enabled by 5G and high-speed networks?
Yeah, I mean 5G is going to enable everything that's going to make the auto industry or help the auto industry transform. So connected car technology, autonomous car technology, electrification, shared mobility, and so on and so forth. Data security. So 5G clearly, high bandwidth, low latency is clearly the technology enabled to all this. The interesting part then is what's the application. And for us, we're selling a product that you don't need but that you want. So this is about desire. And I think the question that we're asking ourselves is, what does autonomy look like in the luxury space? And it probably looks different for a car like an Aston Martin, which is more of a visceral driving experience, than it does for a Lagonda, which will be a pure, I would say, the world's first all-electric luxury car brand, but it's going to be a different type of car, not a sports car, but a big sedan SUV. So it's going to be horses for courses.
So how do you think the autonomy thing is kind of playing out? I mean, how are you preparing for it?
Well, it will come. I think it'll come both through legislation, but also through how consumers will want to build in increasing levels of safety features into their cars. Today we're at level 2. We don't see Aston Martin as a leader in full autonomy, because that sort of defeats the purpose of buying a sports car that you want to drive yourself. However, we look at Lagonda as being very much a car that could be in a leadership position in autonomy, or looking at next generation, level 4. So for us, looking at how level 4, which is effectively an electronic chauffeur, but with autonomy you don't have a carbon-based chauffeur, you have a bits and bytes-based chauffeur.
When do you think that's going to happen, though? Is that something?
For us, we intend to deploy levels of autonomy on Aston Martin and then Lagonda, in the coming years. I mean, we have a relationship with Daimler and Mercedes, so we can take some of their technology that plugs and plays into the electrical architecture that we use from them. The question is then how far we go and how we deploy it in Astons in the future, and then Lagondas. Autonomy predominantly provides, safety, stress release in urban congestion, so on and so forth. But autonomy has another play in our space, which is how can it actually enhance the driving experience.
Okay, so you've talked about working with partners there. How important is it for you to work with technology partners? Obviously, we're here with Huawei now, but for a car company to have these technology partnerships as well.
Well, I think the auto industry is changing so fundamentally, and it is entirely technology driven. You look at the big 4 change factors of connectivity, autonomy, electrification, and shared mobility. All of those are enabled by technology. So what we're seeing is the sort of Detroit meets Silicon Valley, if you like, and tech companies and car companies coming together, and you've seen partnerships that you couldn't have imagined, just 10 years ago. So a car is a mobile device and will increasingly become a technology-enabled, connected mobile device. So we're past the point of, is it going to happen? It's now how it deploys and how technology companies play into the car space, and how car companies also, in a sense, protect some of their real estate. So, it's going to be it's a very interesting period in our industry.
Okay, so that's been very interesting. So, Simon, thank you for your time.
Thank you.